Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Pastime Picks Podcast. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button there for our title screen. Got to start off with a bang. Well, welcome in. Welcome in. We're going to do, so I'm Keith, Vintage Sport Flips.
And I'm Andy from King of Pennants.
There we go. Let me actually put our names up here. Anyway, we forgot to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So this week we're going to draft our favorite sports tirades. Some of them are press conferences. Some of them are just assorted other tirades. So I can spend hours on YouTube just watching these in general. So I love this topic. So hopefully other people do too.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic. I will say, like, obviously there's a bunch that people know about and kind of quote and stuff like that. But there's some ones that took me down a rabbit hole. I was like, I don't remember this one that much, but this guy's like, complete lunatic. So, but yeah,
they're great.
Always fun.
No, and once you get down that's how the YouTube rabbit holes, a classic thing to go down when you click on one and then you didn't realize this other thing was even a tirade or ever existed.
It's quite dangerous.
For sure. All right, so let me I'll have to get to see who drafts first here. But by the way, guys, anyone in the chat, so we're on the One Stop Shop by RAN on District. We're having a raid train on Saturday, I think noon to like maybe 10 p.m. So I have my referral code on the bottom of the ticker there. So if anybody wants to check out the raid train, if you sign up, you get, I think, like $10 free to spend. So
very cool.
Get some free money over there for somebody. What's up, Mark? Welcome in.
Hey, Mark.
All right, let me get to the share my screen and we'll see who drafts first here. I'm hoping to break the streak that I've never got the draft first.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is. Some of them lend themselves to be wanting to be picked first, and some of these that we've done, I don't think it matters. Or sometimes it's even more advantageous to have the second pick. So
yeah, I'm okay either way this time, to be honest. Yeah.
I know. I crushed you last week.
We'll get to that in a second. Let me click.
All right. Let's keep it going, baby. Looks like another winner.
This is ridiculous.
What can I say? Another win for the good guys.
That is ridiculous. I mean, we're in the 7th episode, right? We drafted 6 episodes. You've gotten the pick first, all 6. I don't understand it. Yeah. What's up, Dan? How's it going, Dan?
Here's something that we've never discussed, I don't think, but do we have the ability to trade picks? So if I want to say I'll give you my first, but I, want the second pick in the 4th round, or something like that.
I'm not averse to that, but
okay.
I don't
not
want
to say that you want to do it this time, but
I don't want the first today. I want you to. Okay. You're going to put your foot in the mouth from the get-go, I believe. So
I don't think I will, but we'll see.
By the way, Andy, I got a slight sinus thing going on, so I took a Sudafed and drank 2 cups of coffee tonight. So I'm a little more amped up than usual.
Looks like it, yeah.
Word of warning. So I'm ready to roll you in this draft.
Were you a little confused and stuff too? Your little costume you got going on. This looks
costume. No. What do you mean? No, this is a.
You look like. It's like a Santa Claus underneath the Sixers.
No, come on. My studio or my office here is in my basement. So I'm not going to be wearing a tank top when it's 30 degrees out in the basement. So sorry, I'm not averse to wearing just a tank top, but I'm not going to.
It is a costume.
Or Dan says, great costume there. Yeah. That's my wife would probably call it. Yeah, but I have the Zubaz, Charles Barkley, Andy, and obviously you got to rock the Allen Iverson. I'm not teasing a pick. I don't know where the picks are going to go, but he might show up. He might show up somewhere in the list.
He just might. Yeah. So do you want to recap what we did last week? I don't know who, or do you want?
Yeah. So I think let me look over here for a second. So yeah, so far, you did win last week in the 90s sitcom comedy draft on both the YouTube poll and the Instagram poll. Wasn't very close, I don't believe.
No,
unfortunately,
it wasn't.
Which is ridiculous.
And listen, I'm gonna attribute that to in my actual job, I work a lot with numbers. I do some analytics. I do some statistics and stuff like that. So the fact that I came up with the 90s density quotient, I feel like really propelled me forward and kind of really, made me a winner. So that's kind of.
Yeah, I don't see that being the case. I don't see that. I think I went with too much with my heart in that draft. I knew I was going to get some hate for the King of Queens #2. It's barely a 90s show.
Yeah. You can't even remember it.
The Cabin Boy. If anyone hasn't seen that, that is Chris Elliott's like feature film. But
feature film.
Not as good as Get Alive. But yeah, so Mark, appreciate that. I'm glad it got to you. Hopefully it got there safe. He bought a vintage baseball 1960s helmet kit.
Very cool.
Dan was asking if I only support the Eagles, but no, I'm a 4-for-4 Philly fan, so I wear for stuff for all teams.
Yeah. How about any of the peripheral teams? You a soccer fan, or like what were they, Philly Kicks or something? They used to be that, right?
The Union, Philly Union. I mean, there might be. I don't think there ever was a Kicks.
I have a pennant from them, I think so.
Really, Philly?
I think so.
There's the Adams.
There's
a bunch of Philly teams. Yeah. No, I mean, I've watched them. I watched like the championship game last year and stuff, but I don't. It's hard to invest time in other sports beyond the 4 that I watch. Oh, really? Oh, cool. Are they playing? I don't even know who they're playing tonight, to be honest.
Yeah,
they're playing better this year than they have been. The Flyers. They've been really struggling for a while.
All right. Well, should we kick this off? Do you want to pull the screen up?
Get it started. Let's
okay.
let me get this winning draft on a roll here.
You can start. I will. Yeah, you're right. I will.
I'm in me.
Okay. So, in light of the fact that the 90s density quotient worked so well for me last week, I'm going to maintain this. I think this may be my thing. I had to come up with a new kind of statistical method that I can, that really propels me towards a win. So, in honor of this week's topic, I came up with. So there's a couple parts to why I think like this tirade's good. It has to have some, obviously the intensity of the tirade, right? Like how and what I think intensity, I don't mean just like the guy freaking out and just like losing his mind and stuff. The intensity, I think, to a certain degree, is like the, how much becomes like a part of the vernacular of society and how much it's used and stuff. So that's part of the intensity. Then there's also the time portion too. Like you don't want, if somebody just like loses it quickly and says like, oh yeah, and it's like 5 seconds of, it's not as good as what, have an intense time for a minute or something. It's freak out.
So, a bit. Yeah.
So I came up with something called the time intensity tirade score.
Oh my God.
Or TITS.
Oh, come on now. Come on with the acronym. That's all right.
So
he warned me there might be a somewhat, I don't know, what is a phrase you use for that acronym? Risque acronym. That's okay. I was worried we were going to come at me with. That's
no. So anyway, I came up with the TITS score, and that and that will hopefully propel me towards another win. And there's so first of all, let me go. I'm going to just go with my number 1 pick. I'll tell you right now. And this is partially to throw you off as well. So I think this is what it's going to do. And it had a very high TIT score. So, and that's the Allen Iverson. You talking about practice? It's kind of one of the most classic ones out there.
Yeah, and it's poetic, to be honest.
It really is.
It's like almost like a haiku at times.
Correct. Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was it didn't have the highest time. Like I don't think he wasn't like the part that you really know about. And that he talks about isn't huge, but he does talk for quite some time about like, and kind of goes off on it. But it's for me is one of the highest intensities in terms of like, he was just so annoyed by it. And then, it's been probably quoted for 20 years now or more.
Yeah. And the thing was, he was so demonstrative and like, it wasn't cursing. He wasn't really like it wasn't angry. It was more like exasperated, really. They had just got knocked out of the first round of the playoffs after losing in the finals the year before. And there was there's always a lot of drama in Philadelphia on sports talk about different topics. And he was, there was reports that he was missing practice, and he had a long feud with Sixers coach Larry Brown. And they had a cursing match or a shouting match earlier that day. And they settled. They came to an agreement that they weren't going to trade Allen. There was a threat they were going to trade him if he agreed to come to that press conference. And apparently, though, rumors had it that he went out drinking before the press conference and came in a little surly. But just the fact that he was saying the same line over and over again. Let me hit this, Andy.
Yeah, there we go.
Not a game. We talking about practice. We talking about practice. Not a game. Not a game. Not a game. We talking about practice.
Yeah, he was a poet as well as a great crossover and everything else Allen had. So that's why I was rocking Allen today.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it wasn't probably just to screw you over. There's probably 3 or 4, I think, of the top of the line, that could all have been number one, and you'll probably take the next 2 that are on my list. But yeah, I mean, I think I've heard it in other stuff. I mean, it's crazy. Like, it comes up in like not even sports related things, and people are like, it's funny at this point. I feel like it's been a long enough time that younger people probably don't get it, but like it's almost like if you get it, you're a little bit in the know. Because anytime if you say practice or something like that, there's something I want to practice the ukulele, and I mean, I cannot not say practice. I mean, like I have to say it.
Just enter the vocabulary for people, and then there's a lot of them. I think that some of the top picks will be like that. That just you have that quote right that you won't forget. Yeah. I have a tirade that I think is a better tirade, but it's not as I wouldn't say any of it because there's so much profanity. I might roll out the profanity density quotient. It's better than the tit score. No, it might not be. but that's good. I would have had to go Allen first. Yeah. So let me type this in here and I'll give you mine.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great ones. I mean, I will say there's probably, I think for me, there's probably 5 that I think almost are interchangeable, but not interchangeable, but that would be my number one, but go for it.
So my number one, and this is actually, I as a sports fan, as a Philly sports fan, I have a lot of hate in me. I hate a lot of athletes, a lot of coaches.
It's true.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I love Philadelphia teams. I love some other teams at times, but I hate a lot of teams. And this, I learned to hate this guy, but this is one of the epic tirades. And I don't have to even say the guy's name. I'll just say playoffs, right? So
it's not bad.
To say. Yeah,
not bad.
Let me hit
playoffs. Don't talk about it. Playoffs. Playoffs. Don't talk about.
I mean, just the fact that he's hitting those high notes in a screechy voice, and like, I mean, that was I think they were at 4-5. They had a miserable season. Young Peyton Manning, coming off a game where Peyton Manning threw like 4 interceptions, including an interception for a touchdown, and mainly he was blaming Manning. He didn't want to.
He was. If I recall, he was kind of laying it to him, like it wasn't.
Yeah. The reason I hate Jim Mora, I like Peyton Manning. I never really had anything against Peyton Manning, but there was a game against the Eagles, and the Colts were killing the Eagles. And it was like fourth quarter. There was a play like late in the fourth quarter. The clock was running down, and he challenged a play. They were up by like 30 points, and he like threw a challenge flag. And that was like right at the early advent of the challenge flag. And that was just like, it doesn't take much for me to hate someone for life. So that's why I brought that up. But yeah, but I still put him on there. I think that tirade with anybody quotes that. If you say playoffs, same way you talked about practice. You probably hear that daily on sports talk around the country.
For sure. I want to say he had another one too, very similar.
He did, yeah.
That may come up.
I forget what the topic of that one was, but yeah, I don't think it's on my list. So there's a lot of good ones out there. Let me type.
Yeah. Hey Dan, was that when he said "you kidding me"? Is that the same one, or is that I almost think that was his other one that he had, because he had 2 very kind of similar. I mean, the playoffs one I think is well known, but maybe he did say "you kidding me." I don't know. He had a couple that almost, at least 1 or 2 that almost merged together for me into one. But
yeah, I forget. I watched the whole thing, but I forget there was a couple of videos that were like next to each other.
Yeah.
All right. So let me pick it off. All right. So there you have that.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, I think those are tops. It's hard to. I mean, it does fall off after I think 1 and 2 there a little bit.
Yeah, maybe for the tit score guy over there, but I got the. I think I got the draft.
Yeah.
All right, let me get to something out here, Andy.
Oh yeah. We're doing the
little segment action.
Sale of the week. All
right. So in this segment, for people new to the show, we show each other our sales of the week, and we guess each other's score, and the chat guesses as well. So also for people in the chat, I'm going to do a giveaway here. So whoever in the chat guesses closest to my second listing, my second sale, I'm going to send you these 2 pennants. So we have a Sammy Sosa. These are both like 1998, like home run chase, and a Mark McGwire 70 home runs. Somebody penciled in or inked in the 70 home runs on there, but these are going to be free to someone.
This pennant's a little thicker. I mean, from all the juice that's in there. Or...
I mean, a little roided up.
Yeah,
maybe. The
Juice
Juice Brothers.
Yeah.
So they'll go free to someone. I bought them on the one-stop shop from OBX Picker. So definitely head over to Andy. I better see you there Saturday. When do the Lions play, by the way?
Sunday night. They're Sunday prime time.
Okay. All right. Cool. That might be the best game in the batch. Really.
I hope not. I hope they smoke them. But yeah, I'm a little afraid. Definitely a little worried about that. Did not love to see that as on the schedule. Or
yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it'll be an interesting weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get to mine first here, Andy.
Yep.
Remove that. Share.
Yeah. I will. Not to talk over what you're doing now, but
no, go ahead.
There's a couple. If you look at some of the games coming up this week, all of them have like a storyline to them, which is not always the case, but like, I think across the board, they're pretty like interesting games at least.
Yeah.
But I think that with the Cleveland game that's an interesting game just because Flacco's in it and they're playing. Who they're playing now. I can't remember now.
Well, why am I blanking on it? I'm blanking on it too. Yeah, we'll circle back to that.
Yeah.
Dan knows because Dan's saying he's most excited for that game. And plus I think the Kansas City game might be one of the coldest games in history.
Oh yeah.
It might be like the 5th coldest. So yeah, that's always entertaining. I remember the Giants, the last one, which was maybe Giants Packers, where like Tom Coughlin's face looked like it was like bright red. I don't know if he was frostbite or what was wrong with him.
Yeah, Dan said the Texans. I guess that's
that's a good matchup.
Oldest quarterback against the youngest quarterback.
Plus a great defense against like a hot young offense. That should be a good one.
All right, what do we got here? So Army Navy game.
Army Navy game. Yeah. So anyway, the second one I showed, not this one, but the next one, I'm going to give the giveaway for the closest guess in the chat. So this one, not this one, but the next one I do. But yeah, this is a 1922 Army Navy game ticket.
Okay.
Ticket stub. Yeah. So now, interesting thing about Army Navy game, maybe I shouldn't even tell you too much. I should let you falter on your own. But Army Navy games are interesting where if you have like later Army Navy stuff, like 1960s, the value is pretty insignificant. I think they produce so much of that stuff.
Interesting.
When you get like pre-World War II, it's a little rare, a little harder to find, and that stuff sells pretty well.
Wow.
So,
okay. All right. So you said 1922. You said this was.
Yes, 1922.
So I can ask you questions about this as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So was there any significant player that played in this game that you know of?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay. I know that factors into the cost sometimes on those.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is just the ticket stub. That's not the full ticket then, right? That's not what a full ticket would look like. So
correct.
The full ticket, that would be insanely rare, right?
Yeah, so the full ticket would have been like another 3/4 of that ticket. This is only like the stub that they would take. They would tear off like the rain check stub and give it to the people. That in case they cancel the game, you can get back in with that stub.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think this is pretty expensive. Like you said, I think it's a little before.
We got BD at $45 with a guess.
That's a good.
Yeah, Mark Oil at $89.
I think I like Mark's. I think he's kind of in a closer range. I think it's may even be over $100. So, God, yeah, this is tough. Because how big? It's pretty small, right?
Yeah, it's
a couple inches,
trying to
like
think.
4 inches or something. Yeah.
2 inches tall by an inch wide.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with $105.
$105. So I'll give a second on the chat. So we have 45 from BD, 89 from Mark Hoyle. And you watch that for a second too while I find your answer here.
Find my answer. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. If you won or lost, in other words.
Yeah, I think maybe I overshot. I don't know. I feel like these are pretty.
MNOP, $59 guess.
Yeah.
All right. Let's shall see here. Let's go. That does not look like a success there. All right, let me find the price. Here we go.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it was undershot.
Yeah. I tried to help you out with my preamble.
I know. $100 for a little tiny piece of a paper, though. Come on.
Yeah. That's Mr. Cubs fan. Yeah, $40 guess. Thanks for. I don't think I've seen that name before, Mr. Cub fan. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was a strong one.
Did you put it up for that too? And that was what
I think it was. I don't think somebody came in with an offer on that one. I think they just bought it outright. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool though. I mean, it does. I mean, you can only imagine if it had like some significance. I don't know. Staubach went there, right? I guess that's a little later though.
Yeah, much later. Yeah. But even Staubach stuff, because that's in that mass-produced era. There's not a huge value there.
Gotcha.
Some of the most expensive things I've sold were Army Navy game items. I had a trophy ball from the 1919 Army Navy game. It was the winning field goal that was kicked. So some of that stuff brings pretty big money. I mean, bigger than this. But yeah, so pretty nice sale there.
Well, keep your eyes open for that thing. Apparently, for Army Navy stuff, early Army Navy stuff.
Oh, okay, awesome, Josh. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Let's do it. It's kind of interesting because there's a couple, both the pennants I'm going to be featuring today on the recent sales have some significance. How does that come through? Is that big?
Jim Harbaugh action. That's good. Yeah.
Actually, it was before the game too. So, but it was kind of interesting that both of these have a little bit of significance. So, yeah. So anyway, these are cool. These are some of. We have a bunch of these. We got a bunch of these in our group. Most of them are kind of from this age. I would say like maybe late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I really had it before.
I know it's actually one of the cooler ones. There's a couple that are like that. They're kind of, most of them are kind of basic that have like the caricature person on there and something like that. This one I thought was kind of more interesting because it's got X's and O's behind it. Like,
a little more going on in the background.
And he becomes a future coach. And there's another one that's got Eddie. Who's that running back? Eddie from Tennessee, not Tennessee.
Eddie George.
Eddie George. Like, it's the weirdest pen. It's like him, and then it's got his like stats. Like he's like 6'2", 230. Like it was no other pen I've ever seen is listed like the height and weight. But
anyway. It is interesting. What's up, Chris? Thanks for joining us tonight, man. Yeah, this is my. I own this jersey. I think I bought this in like the late 90s. This is my.
Who is this? Iverson?
It's Iverson. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Champion Iverson.
All right, so let's chat. Feel free to guess on this as well. No prize comes with this one. Just the one that comes with Keith.
Yeah, there's gonna be a prize in the next one. In a second, I'm gonna have a giveaway. All right, so we have a caricature pennants typically don't bring big money, but I've never seen this pennant, and I've handled thousands upon thousands of pennants. Bears is always a strong seller, even though they haven't been good for several years. The Bears stuff is still a decent seller. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you had the topical stuff going on with Michigan, and maybe he's going to the NFL soon.
Yep.
Yeah, I think BD's guess is probably pretty close. I think she's probably a little high. I mean, she might know better than me, but I'm gonna guess. Mark is 55. I always go with the 99s. I like whether I'm selling a price or guessing a price, I always guess a 99.
Okay.
So I'm going to guess 39.99.
All right.
Oh, wow. MNOP came right at 39 too. So we're in the same mindset. Me too, Chris. Yeah, I'm a huge Iverson fan.
All right.
Le who? The her.
Unfortunately, that is a loss for Keith. Let me put it up what the actual sale price was. Let's see here.
We're all about the same. We're all in the same ballpark over here in the chat. Basically 55 down to 39.
Wrong one.
Oh,
No!
I
Don't
turned
look.
away.
Don't
I turned
look.
away. I turned
Okay.
away.
Okay.
Can I look yet?
No, well, I gotta find. I don't know what happened.
Well, just stop sharing. So
I did stop sharing.
Okay. All right.
I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you what the price is because this
That's
thing
fine.
didn't pop. It's not popping up. Came in at $30. So
Okay. All right. So we're all pretty close.
You were close. It was we had it up for $34.99 and it accepted the price of. Chris had it up for a while.
So I'll have to watch Chris's guess next time.
Yeah, Chris will know exactly what the next one is.
I didn't even see what pennant it was, to be honest. But
yeah,
that's the thing with, even though it's a rare pennant, caricature pennants sort of had a limit to what you can get on them, right? You're not gonna get a $300 caricature pennant unless it's autographed or something. I mean, maybe
I've only seen probably the only ones really I've ever seen that were like close to $50 were like, I think Dennis Rodman was high for some reason. A couple basketball players were kind of high. Haven't seen a Jordan one. We didn't have a Jordan one in ours.
No, I sold Jordans a lot. They're not.
But I don't even think they're that much. Yeah,
they're
not.
I think I sold it for $40. Yeah, and that's probably more than it was worth, to be honest. Yeah.
So I would say most of the caricature pennants that we get are in that $20 to $40 range. Yeah.
All right. So we'll for the next for my item, I'm going to put up next. We're going to give away 2 caricature pennants. So I will show these in a second, but let me get to my screen. So actually, let me just do this first. So whoever gets closest to the guess on the item I show next in the chat, any doesn't count. You're going to win a pair of pennants. You have a Sammy Sosa caricature pennant.
Yeah, make sure you get your guesses in, guys, because these pennants are a little heavier, a little thicker than most because of the
roids. You're saying
because of the roids, yeah.
That was a fun year though. 98. That was my senior year of college, and that was
that's what like the year everybody hit over 50 home runs, right?
Yeah, that brought a lot of people back into baseball because baseball, even though it hurt it, I'm sure it definitely. I think it helped it in a big way.
Dan has a good question. Closest without going over, we'll just probably go closest in general, right?
No, I think just with closest. We're not no Price is Right rules here. You can go over. All right, let me find the item. But good question, Dan. I really wish you could order these things.
Mr. Cubs fan, come on, man. You see what I'm wearing, right? Gotta love that. Although I will say I kind of hope that Harbaugh does leave. I think it's time for him to go. They have a pretty good I guess he's an offensive coordinator come in. There we go. Look at that guy. All right,
Andy. So I threw a little Lions at you here. So this is a 1990s. Well, do you know what it is? I should ask first, other than a Lions hat. There's some hints there.
I believe it's a 1990s sports specialties hat, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you might be able to get a tag on the right there. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you just knew that.
No.
But you did. You did have that Michigan hat last week that was the similar style.
Yeah, I want to say that I may even have one of these too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I
have a different one.
This is a sports specialties 1990s Lions script twill hat. They make these in wool and twill. This is a twill, new with tags, dead stock.
Ooh.
All right, so we have a couple guesses. So we have GFE sports cards, $28, and I think that's a new name for me too, Andy. So thank you for watching this, GFE.
Yeah, welcome.
We have Chris Page at $179.
Wow. Okay.
Dan and Demand at $79.99.
45. Okay.
Mark 45.
I'm concerned that
MNOP. I had to do some calculations here too at some point.
you better break out your. Okay.
Let me get my calculator. 125 for Mr. Cub fan.
Interesting. All right, guys, you have me second guessing a little bit. Maybe I don't know my hat.
By the way, let me add, Andy, this price is including shipping as well. That doesn't matter too much, but it does include shipping.
So let me talk through this a little bit. A couple things I think you got going for it is that it's a new, with tags, right? So that,
Yes.
I mean, I think that adds some value to it. It's obviously brand new, unworn. I'm assuming the condition is essentially perfect, or no?
Yeah, that was dead stock. So yeah, you're right. That's a good question, because sometimes modern hats, people might leave like the sticker on them, right? But nobody would leave a hang tag on the side of their hat like that back then. So yeah, this was never worn.
Wow, I think there's some good guesses out here. I might go a little lower than some of those big numbers, but I don't think it's a horrible guess. Yeah, Chris, this is what he actually sold it for.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, this is my. I sold this, I think, last week. These are all the sales we're showing are items we sold the previous week, like Sunday to Saturday. So that's the
okay. So I think my guess is I think it's under 200. So I think everybody said that too. I think it's over 100. So I think has a lot of people in it as well. I think it's probably, I'm going to go, since nobody has said this, I'm going to go 165.
165. All right, 165. So let me
do the math on that. So the math is $16.50 either way.
No, I wasn't doing the math. I was just looking at the chat.
Okay.
So we have a lot of guesses here. So anywhere from 28 to I think 189. Yeah. So let me let Andy know how he did first.
Doesn't sound good to me. No, not liking it the way he's saying.
Le who, the her.
All right. I think I may have overshot. That's my guess.
So, yeah. But I will say, somebody else in the chat basically nailed it. So let me find the other screen here.
All right. Well, I don't feel that bad then.
So Mr. Cub fan, a penny off.
Woo!
Man, you had to watching his guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Josh. Nice guess, Josh. Yeah. So Josh, hit me up. If you're on Instagram, Josh, hit me up on Instagram or email. You have my email address. I'm going to get these out in the mail to you. Obviously, shipping's on me. Thank you for guessing. I'm going to do that each week.
Yeah, the one thing that you saw a lot of that I don't know yet at all really is the hats. Some of these, like, to me, like, I feel like they could be $20 and then you're selling for, 200. And then some of them are like, this thing, I would never wear this thing. And it's like a super, super rare hat, but.
Yeah. And that's the thing with hats too, for people who are out shopping at yard sales or flea markets. I mean, you're not going to go to a flea market, right, and find a Mickey Mantle 52 tops or even like a Babe Ruth bat for $1 likely. But you have a shot to find a hat for $1. I mean, I found a hat in my channel earlier this year that was a hat that I'm going to show later on in the episode that I bought for $1, and it's not $1 hat. So that you can make some awesome finds with hats.
See, Mr. Cubs fan is a ringer. He already he knew what he was talking about. So
yeah, nice.
All right, it's all good.
Yeah, you gotta have it's knowledge is money in the reselling game or collecting game.
Yeah. Definitely.
So for sure.
All right. So back to tirades, right? You
want to save yours for the next round. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, let me pull up the draft board. And obviously we're doing a snake draft.
Yeah, so you are up next. You had 2 and 3. So all right, let me share this. All right. So as people saw in the first round, let's see what I've said. I've won mainly with hats. Yeah, absolutely. The hats are the best bang for your dollar at, like, when you're finding them in a thrift shop or yard sale for sure, or one of the better finds for your dollar or banks for your dollar. So I had some audio clips for these tirades. This one I didn't have an audio clip for because the profanity density quotient was just so strong. Don't use my.
If anyone watched last week, Andy had, what was that? The
90s density quotient.
90s density quotient that he uses like an algorithm for his picks. And I don't think that helped you win, but whatever. But this one, this tirade, and you might not even know this one.
Okay,
Dan might. But this tirade had 50 profanities, 30 F-bombs.
Okay.
This one dates back to 1983. it was a Philly guy, a Philadelphia guy, who was a Phillies manager at one point, but at this point he was a Cubs manager, and that was Lee Elia.
Yeah, I did hear. I didn't. Yeah.
If people in the chat haven't seen this tirade, he was basically the Cubs had started, I think, like 4-15 for the season, lost a close game. They stranded a runner on third base, Keith Moreland, I think, and the fans they struck out. I think the last player struck out. The fans were booing. Apparently they doused Keith Moreland with beer. That didn't sit right with the manager, and he just goes off on an epic tirade. And I can't play because literally every other letter was effing this or. Amazing. But basically, man, he was like ripping. You don't see many tirades that curse out your own fan base like to an extreme. Like, F those effing fans. Let me read a little bit of it. I'll try to bleep it. F those effing fans. 3,000 of these effing people show up. They don't even have a job. 85% of the world works. The other 15% come here and watch. Man, it just went on and on and on. Like it was. Yeah, for people who haven't seen this tirade, YouTube that tirade. That's like one of the better tirades. I don't know if there's a video of it because it's all audio that I've seen.
Yeah, there's definitely less like of the press conference with like a camera back then. I want to say, especially baseball, probably. But
yeah, I mean, I remember when I first heard that. I was out actually in Chicago with my dad at a national sports collectors convention, and I never heard it before. And I was listening to it, just cracking up that this guy was like just cursing out his own fan base to like for like 10 minutes, like just and some of the words I won't even say. I don't even use in my regular life. They were so graphic. Oh man, it was an epic tirade, and it probably hurts a little bit because I don't have a clip or an audio. But
yeah,
it would have been hard.
I get you. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it wasn't on my list, but
I thought it might not be because it's not on a lot of them. But that's like, I think that would have been number one for me, to be honest. But I wouldn't have picked it number one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple. You threw me for a little bit of a loop because I feel like there's a couple in there now that I may be able to get later. So, I'm gonna go with one that is not a like it's not at the podium. There's no anything like that. I'm going to go with George Brett Pine Tar incident. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
So this, for me, and for those of you just coming in, I have a quotient but a system that I'm using today called the Time Intensity Thyroid Score, which is, or the TIT score, if you want to, keep it short. This has an extremely high intensity, right? Because if you've ever seen it, basically what happened is George Brett, I think he hit a home run maybe, or not exactly sure what happened, but he basically, the ump goes and grabs his bat and sees like the pine tar is above where it should be, I think on the actual bat, or there's too much. I can't remember exactly what it was, and he's kind of like, you can sort of see him stewing, I think, in the dugout. And as soon as I think he calls him out or he throws him out of the game, one of the two, I can't remember which. George Brett runs out like probably faster than he's ever run in his entire life and just completely loses it on the ump. It's pretty amazing. So, I don't know if that was on your list, but
no, it's not on my list. Because to be honest, I would question whether that's a tirade. I mean, it's awesome. I love it. The whole scene. But he's not really, you can't hear him. I mean, maybe you could slightly, but it's not like he's speaking to the public, or it's not like, I don't know. I'm not, you can keep the pick. I mean,
when I think of tirade, I think of somebody just completely losing their marbles. And
it's at that moment where he just goes off, right? Yeah. If people didn't hold him back, there definitely could have been some fist flying in that episode where you don't get much angrier of a person than that.
Yeah, for sure.
The shock and awe of it for him that he just, went crazy.
I'm a little concerned you're questioning my actual tirade. That's
I don't know for sure. I don't know. It's a reasonable pick, but I mean, what I will say for Dan, who says I'm going to look up the Lee Elia for sure. Dan, if you're a Chicago guy and you haven't seen that, look it up, watch it, and then vote. Then vote.
Also look up George Brett. I mean, that's also very good.
That's optional, but you have to look up Elia and vote because for everyone. That's that. But yeah, no, that's good. That's good. It's a good scene. It's a good on-field argument.
That's a tirade if there ever was one.
I mean, let's see here the chat. Is that a tirade chat? I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it is. All right. Let me while they think on that, let me unshare this and get to a segment.
Yeah, see? There we go.
You got a confirming.
Yeah. He will check it out. He knows the Brett tirade. He even calls it the Brett tirade.
Well, he was just throwing you a bone. He was being friendly. Dan's a very nice guy. If you don't know Dan,
yes,
yeah, he's not going to be nasty to you and say that was a horrible pick, Andy. like you did to me last week with Get a Life, I think. YouTube spotlight. All right, let me get back to the comments.
What do you got for me?
Yeah, so this is. Let's see here. Let's see what this. Let me make sure what. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think he was a nice guy, George Brett, but I was making sure that wasn't anyone disagreeing that was a tirade. I wanted to check that before you got.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure you did.
Spotlight. So this channel. Let me get to the page here. This channel is for someone who does support our podcast, Andy, who's been in. I don't think he's here tonight, but he definitely has been in our podcast.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a couple. You've featured a couple people that have been on our podcast.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of people in the chat who have channels. But this is Roman. Who's the Cleveland Browns fan. He's probably out there getting ready for this Browns first playoff game in a long time, right? But yeah, Roman's channel. Roman picks a lot at. I think it seems like he does a lot more picking at the Goodwill bins. So a lot of his videos are like him showing his Goodwill bins hauls. Because at least by me, I don't think, and maybe Dan will know because I know Dan picks at Goodwill bins as well. I don't think you can film there. At least a lot of them you can't. They frown upon filming there. So I know mine. There's signs everywhere. Don't film here. So maybe a lot. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, at these places, I've heard some guys like I guess you can buy by the pound or something like that. Is that?
That's what they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, Danny, next time you're up in Philly, we're going to a bins. It's a scene.
Boy.
It's a scene in the bins. You should wear gloves when you go first because you don't know what's in these things. Broken glass. I mean. I don't know what you're going to pull out of there.
I guess you have to learn your lessons hard there, right?
Yeah. I don't go much because I don't deal in that kind of stuff. I don't deal in like clothing. I mean, I deal in vintage clothing, but I'm not going to dig there for hours for like a vintage T-shirt or something. But yeah. So Roman does a lot more of that. He's a big reseller. But what I wanted to spotlight is not his picking videos or his Goodwill bins videos. But let me get over here. So Andy, you've been in his Saturday night live streams. He titles his live stream the most unprofessional reseller live. he has guests every week. It's always Roman top left and Lissa at the bottom center. They're always on the episodes. And then in this episode it was Anthony, I think Dragon Masters Finds, who's also a Philly guy too. So you can check out both channels.
All right.
But you never know what's going to happen over there. It's a pretty wild scene, a pretty wild chat. I like to go in there while I'm listing or doing work or editing and watch and chat. But this is a scene there. It gets a little risque, this conversation here. So let me play this. I'm not even sure what they're talking about, to be honest, but it's funny. Yeah.
And Max was saying Roman is nice. He slapped my ass when I met him. Yes, exactly.
Oh, come on, YouTube. What's going on here?
Like my favorite.
He's in the chat. There we go.
He haven't been in the chat for a while, but Dollar Bill, if you're lurking, we know that you're Dollar Bill you all. And Max was saying Roman is nice. He slapped my ass when I met him. Yes, exactly, guys. Max was so.
I know my YouTube's glitching out on me here.
Nice
oh no!
That I had to slap him a couple times, and Max was not against it, guys. So he's like, he's like, I'm not into this kind of thing, but if you like slapping my ass.
All right. Yeah, so it's Oh, let me exit out on the YouTube because it's still in my ear. But yeah, definitely entertaining. I know Roman just showed up in the chat, so welcome in, Roman. Yeah, that Roman guy is weird. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely people in the chat. Hit Roman's live on Saturday nights and check the rest of his channel out as well. Like I said, does a lot of like Goodwill bins, haul videos, but his lives are fun. It gets a lot of people in his lives. A lot of ton of resellers, ton of other YouTubers. Definitely a fun spot over there for sure. And he's a big Cleveland Browns fan. So we have a couple long starving fan bases here in the chat and then on the screen. So you got this is a long time coming for you both. So I hope you had a fun weekend.
We did. How was your weekend, Keith? Did you enjoy it?
No. Pause. I said I hope we have a fun weekend. I hope you have a fun weekend. Like coming up. Let's not delve in the past.
Okay, we're gonna look to the future.
Yeah, look to the future.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, the prospects aren't great for the Eagles. I mean, they're struggling at this point, but they have some pedigree there. They have playoff experience. That's always
that's true.
It's always a factor.
Doesn't hurt. All right, so let's go back to the tirades. After you question my,
well, Roman will tell us when he comes back how.
I think we all know. I think we all know that that's a tirade. He was losing it. He was yelling. There's an aspect of that.
We'll let the voters decide.
Sure.
Yeah, but for the chat, thanks, Josh. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for joining us. Come back every week. We're not going to do a show next week because I have to work Wednesday night, but we will have one every Wednesday night going forward. All right. Oh, actually, before I forget, Josh, definitely shoot me an email as well so I can get your info, your mailing address on the giveaway. All right, let me get back to the draft board here, Andy.
Sounds good. We'll see how I kind of went off what I was initially thinking, but I'm going to jump back on, I think, this time.
That's an interesting matchup for sure, Roman. That Stafford's coming back to Detroit. That's I know Andy's not thrilled with that matchup, but like I said, it has the possibility of being one of the better games. I think, the Cleveland game will be entertaining. A lot of games, there'll be some entertaining games for sure.
Yeah, there's I don't know if it's rumors or they're saying that there's a couple restaurants that have said that if you wear a Detroit Lions Stafford jersey, you're not allowed into the restaurant. I mean, there's a love for Stafford, no question. But like, I think almost every fan that was rooting for him to win the Super Bowl, but like they want to bury him now. Like, I mean, of course they do. So
yeah. But is there are there any current number 6s on the team?
He's a 9.
Oh, 9. I'm sorry. Yeah, number 9.
Yeah, it's Jameson Williams is, but a little hard to cover. A little hard to cover up the name, I guess.
Yeah, but you always saw Carson Wentz jerseys turned into AJ Brown jerseys at the link.
Oh, really?
I wonder if there'd be any of them showing up at the
interesting
at the I don't know what the stadium is called. Ford Field.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's go back. I'm going to go back to my wheelhouse or my bread and butter. I didn't want to go straight with just these press conferences. I wanted to add a little flavor, even though Keith thinks I went off the rails a little bit. I think what you're doing is kind of lobbying for yourself more than really. I think you like the George Brett pick. You're just not saying it, but okay.
I love it. I'm going back. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the wheelhouse. I'm going to go back to Herm Edwards when he says his famous line, "You play to win the game." He was getting questioned, I guess. I don't know, it was the end of the season do you know the story behind it? I mean, he's a former Eagle, right? So that's another.
Yeah, I love Herm Edwards. Yeah.
Stab to the heart.
What is Herm Edwards' famous play? The most famous play in his
career. It's Miracle of the Meadowlands, right?
Yeah. Miracle of the Meadowlands, number 1. I love Herm Edwards. I mean, great, classy guy, great coach. I mean, that was during his time with the Jets. But all that said, I didn't have that on my list.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
it's another classic story. It's got a very great tit score because it's, again, like that quote is so iconic.
The reason I didn't put it on my list is it's great. It's demonstrative. He's very demonstrative in what he's saying.
But you don't think he's freaking out, angry?
There's no real anger in it. I mean, slight anger. And he's a classic guy, so he's not exuding much anger. But
that's, you think Iverson? I mean, Iverson wasn't angry in that. And I mean, Jim Mora.
Well, that's your pick too.
But he would have been your number one. Jim Mora wasn't angry. I mean, he's just like, he's not like losing it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little more. No, he's annoyed. I don't
really. Jim Mora pick is just known for playoffs. It's known for one word. At least Herm Edwards is you play to win the game. The way he says that,
it's all right. It's not. I wouldn't have.
No, get out of here.
I would maybe picked it 5th, maybe 6th if he went deep. But
the cadence of him saying that is just so good.
It's inspirational. Yeah, you could. Yeah. And why else would you play? Is there more of it? Why else would you play?
Yeah,
why else would you be playing? Yeah.
He was angry throughout the thing. I mean, like, I'd argue that he was pretty angry when he said that. So yeah.
I don't actually know if that was like late season and if they were like resting players. I don't know the premise of that tirade. I would guess that's probably is because the Jets were probably late season resting players almost every year, right? I mean, they hoping for draft picks. That's their MO, their team crest. But yeah,
right, so
it's all right.
Where are you going then?
All right. Well,
see your next pick. He's been really judgy, guys. Like
I think
he's going on the offense to try to downgrade my picks. I'm going to take the high road. I'm going to take the high road, guys. I'm going to go with what I think is good. I'm not going to downgrade his picks. I don't know the Realia one, so I can't.
You don't know? You said that was on your list, or you said you know it?
No, it was on my list. I saw it on a few lists. Jim
Okay.
Mora, sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously Jim Mora.
But a lot of people haven't seen that because it's not a video. It wasn't like in ESPN's lifetime, right? It was pre that. But if it was, that would be number one for any list. So my knowledge runs deep that way. So that's all I can say. But I'm going off my draft list because I feel like again.
You didn't even have it on your list at all, or you just
no? I'm sorry. I'm going off of order. I'm going out of order because I feel like I can freelance a bit with how the bottom of that board is looking. The pressure is off. But let me.
I literally thought that those three, and maybe one other, were 100% the top four overall.
Not Brett. I mean, I could see Edwards on some people's list for sure.
Yeah, Dan, I don't know. I think there's definitely some on there that maybe I should have gone rated higher, but I don't know.
Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, after seeing Dan saying that, maybe I should go off of my list what I was going to pick because, I'm changing it up. I'm pulling
good flip flop.
Because this is a better pick. I think the other one was a bit of a reach. I'll be able to get it later. It's a great one, but this one is a more classic one, similar to Jim Mora, and it's against Dan's team as well. The coach was ranting about this team. Let me find the clip here first.
Pretty convenient. You have your own clips there, buddy.
Well, I would have clips for yours if there were anywhere in a ranked list.
You didn't have a Herm Edwards clip?
I didn't. No.
Oh my God.
Bears are who we thought they were. That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. The Bears.
All right, that's not bad. So that was who I was thinking.
Yeah, that should have been. I would have picked that in the second round, but crown their ass, right? I mean, that's a great one, right? And then the Bears are who we thought they were.
I forgot. He said that part, and I probably should have. I did have
which gives it a high tit score. to steal the King of Pennants algorithm. Which was that again? I don't want people to think I'm profane here.
The tit score is a time intensity tirade score. So it really factors in the time of how long he goes on for, or she, and the intensity of said clip. So
so this has a very, very heavy time intensity tirade score for sure. To the point where he punches the podium.
That's pretty good.
It might be the first podium punch that we've seen in this draft board so far.
To be honest, it was between those two, and I just like the Herm Edwards a little better, but just because I just like the way it sounded better. But yeah, the final thing he says, I think too, is funny. It's like when he says you let him off the hook or something like that. He smacks it after like that's a kind of the.
Yeah, no, it went on and on, and that was. Let me see. But there was a lot of chat going on there. I heard he was like going. He quoted. I think he was going nuts in the locker room and said, "Nobody talked to the media. I'm about to go ape shit." was his quote to his team, and then went into the press conference. And I think started somewhat tame, and then just went off. Right, that was there was another one similar to that one too. That maybe Andy will pick it. We'll see, but yeah, we let him off the hook. Yeah, that was a great one.
All right, yeah, maybe you probably did well in that one. That would have been obviously been my next pick, but it was between Herm and him. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, and they're similar other than the anger factor, right? I mean, and the podium punch, and they're somewhat similar.
You almost didn't pick that one, huh?
No, I had another one that I think is entertaining, but it's not as classic. So let me move this. Yeah, so Roman, that was the best one. Yep. Roman's on board.
Oh, geez. Look, you're already politicking.
I'm just reading the chat, brother. Let me get up here. Let me get to the segment section. All right. Let me stop sharing the screen. So this can be a quick memorabilia deep dive, and I was going to go into some sort of the evolution of and some different antique photography for people who, if you find anything at flea markets or yard sales, I'll show you some early photographs. And the first photograph, and you know what the first type of photograph was, or about when it was invented?
His first overall for top? No, I don't.
Yeah, the first photograph. Yeah.
Is that the no.
No. Okay, no guess at all. All right, that's all right. I'm here to teach you. And
sure, thanks.
And, yeah. So the first photograph was called a daguerreotype. It was late 1830s. Really came into prominence in the 1840s, and that was an image printed on copper. It was like a piece of copper with silver coating, and that was the first type of photograph. Super, super rare to find any kind of baseball daguerreotype. That was the only sport. Maybe you can find tennis. I don't know, but there are only a handful of sports photographs known. Then you went into ambrotypes. Ambrotypes 1851 was an image printed on glass. Also exceedingly rare. You don't see that stuff. But the next up, you know what this one's called, Andy?
Silica. I don't know.
It's called a tintype.
Tintype. Okay.
Tintype. Well, you probably heard of that, right?
Yeah. Thanks to Mark, I did. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, Mark knows. I'm going to share a close up of this one. So yeah, tintypes were invented, I think 1853, I believe. And I'm having a hard time pulling up the screen. But then they actually continued into the early 20th century. I've had some like 1902 tintypes. Very rare to find them from that time period, but here it is. So here's the close up of this image. It's a tennis player or pair of tennis players, early tennis ball. So that's a tintype. Beyond tintypes, then you got into some paper photographs. This one has a very cool name. You know what this one, Andy, is called? You probably don't know.
I don't.
That's called a carte de visite or a CDV. These were 1850s into early 60s. This is actually a CDV of Union Generals, General Philip Sheridan. I'm going to auction this off in the one-stop shop raid train on Saturday. If anyone wants to come into the raid train, I'm going to start this at $1 or $3, whatever I can start it at. But again, I'm going to auction that off on Saturday. So they were in the 1860s, and then you got into paper photography, albumen prints. This is an early albumen photo. This one's called a cabinet card. This particular shape is called a cabinet card. Let me show you a close-up of this guy. This is actually a very cool photo. This is an 1870s Iowa pair of baseball players. But check out the uniforms, Andy, with those checkered pants, the striped socks. Very dapper young fellows there, right?
They are quite dapper, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like an 1870s image. So these will continue into the 1910s, this style of image, this shape. But then you got into like, get rid of that screen. Then you have different. So that's a cabinet card, a type of cabinet photo, but cabinet photos come in all shapes and sizes. This is like a large hockey team image, 1903. This is like more of an imperial size. There's mammoth plates. So these are cabinet photos. They would go into like the 1930s or so. So that's sort of just a general run through the history of photography.
And what's in terms of rarity and price and cost, not cost, but like I mean, I'm sure it depends a little bit on the subject as well.
Yeah, that's it all. Yeah. And Dan, answer your question. I think I'm going 1245 to 130 on the rate train. Yeah, thank you for asking that. But yeah, so the values are all over the place. Like this photo, this one I think is like 600. I have it listed for just that early image. Again, the Civil War image, I'm going to start it at $1, so that's going to bring whatever it brings. I think I had it in my antique shop for like $85. Tin types, baseball tin types, probably $200-$300 if they're just random players. Tennis probably like $80. And then the other, like the larger images, it's all about content, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I know you have a lot of photos. I mean, obviously, you collect those quite a bit, or not collect, but have one right over your shoulder too.
Yep. Yeah, there's a couple of here. So is
that a cabinet photo? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Good.
There we go.
This is an Imperial cabinet photo. Yep. There's a cabinet photo above it. You can just see the top corner, the bottom corner of it too. But yeah, that's one of the things I got into selling first is cabinet photos. Yeah. Right. Yeah, Dan, it's definitely before football. I wasn't sure when I thought I might have to work, but thankfully I didn't. So I was happy to get in on that rate train. But yeah, that was one of the first things I started delving into was antique photography. I know a lot about early photography. Sold a lot of non-sport photography. And some early photography can bring crazy money. Like the tin types I was mentioning, Andy. Yep. I had a group of tin types from 1902 that were chronicling a guy fasting. It was just, he had like rheumatoid arthritis, right? And it was fasting to try to like cure himself. It probably didn't work. I don't know. There probably weren't a whole lot of cures back then. So it was a series of him just like shirtless, showing him losing weight. Those photos are crazy money.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We got some oddity kind of photos like that. They can do very well.
Very cool.
Yeah. Oh, cool, Roman. Yeah, I'll check it out.
All right. We'll get back to
let me get back to the draft board.
I think you're up now, right? I need to finish strong, I think.
I am up. So I'm going to go back to when I was going to pick last. Let me get back to the screen. So this is not like a press conference tirade. And some of my favorite tirades are like after a player or an athlete finishes the sport, like right after he's all amped up, his adrenaline's pumping, sort of like Brett, but Brett was not really a tirade. But
yeah, he was a tirade.
But after the sport, there's several of these. This one though, this is like poetry in motion. This one, when you have Mike Tyson, well, you don't often have an athlete threaten to eat someone's children, right?
It's true. It was on my list. I will say it was on my list.
Let me bring up the clip.
My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. My style is impetuous.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. My style
is impetuous.
My defense is impregnable.
So I think it was good. I don't think it was. He was lower on my tit score because, first of all, it's there's not a lot to it, right? It's like maybe a few lines, right? He doesn't.
Well, he went on before.
He went on for a little bit, but like it wasn't anything. The eat your children was really the only part that was kind of.
Well, he called him. He said, "I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey.
Yeah.
I'm from their cloth." He went on. And the thing I liked about it too is behind him, you have his like trainer, his like corner people. Like you can see they're getting amped up as he's going and like sort of building up a rhythm. Like, they're like, yeah, Mike. that's one of the cool aspects of it for me too.
And then they kind of like eat your children.
What? Yeah, it went off the rails a little bit there, right? Yeah. Especially with how it would later become, when he starts eating people's ears.
Okay, interesting.
But but that was right after he won, like I think one of the faster fights he ever won. I think Lou Savarese, and he was talking about coming up against Lennox Lewis next, and it was
Lennox Lewis. I remember that. Yeah.
Children he was going to eat. I think I don't know if Lennox Lewis had children at that point, but
right. Okay. Well, I get to finish strong too, which I do like, or finish with the next two picks. So it doesn't really matter who I go next.
Yeah. Pressure's off for these two.
But I am going to go. I I'm going to go in a completely. You went off on a different sport. I've been. I went with. I pretty much. Another thing I like to do. I like to diversify my picks. So I went basketball, baseball, football. I'm going to go tennis, baby. Tennis. One of the most insane people in tennis, who's now like probably the most calm announcer that there is, and that's John McEnroe. John McEnroe is probably in his 70s, 80s. He's a really obviously a very good tennis player. I don't know if he was ever number one ranked. He was definitely up there. But he has a very famous one, which I'm sure you remember, that when he goes, "You cannot be serious," and he is yelling and screaming at the umpire basically throughout the whole thing. He's known for this. It was
he's a hothead on the court, right?
Super hothead.
And I don't think they're really like, you don't have often mics that like, you don't pick up a lot of what's said on the court, I think, but
No.
you picked it up from him because he was yelling or screaming.
He was
right?
screaming, and I mean he was about as hot as a tennis player can get, I think.
Yeah.
Aside from there's a couple other tennis players that are like that back in the day, but John McEnroe is by far kind of, I mean, he was known as the bad boy of tennis. Of course it's tennis, so it's not that bad of a boy. But
what do you want me to call that other than John McEnroe? You can't. Are you serious, or you can't be?
You cannot be serious. Is kind of the quote.
All right.
I mean, partially, I think he should win a lifetime achievement award for his tirades, but that's his most notable one for sure. Yeah,
it's a good one. I don't have a clip for that one, unfortunately, but that's par for the course for your stream.
Yeah, it's par for your course. You're winning.
No. I don't. Does that have a high tit score though? I mean,
it did. No, yeah. It was very high tit score because he's losing it. He's like red faced, like yelling at the chair judge, and it goes on for a long time. Like he doesn't just give up on it. He's like, and it's like the best part about him is too, he never like forgets. Like throughout even I think during the match, like he would yell and stuff. It was great. He's
awesome.
He's actually an announcer now and is like super calm, and like you would never know that he was like that back in the day. But oh god, he was so good. It was so. And
good. Speaking of Dan, says he was promoting pickleball, and you need to come up to Philly and play me a pickleball. Oh. I've only played once, but I was dominant on that pickleball court.
Were you? Yeah, I doubt that.
I felt sort of bad because my wife and her friend they took lessons for like months, and they play all the time. And my wife's friend's husband and me, we played doubles, and we dominated. We pickled them, they call it, Andy. I mean, we shut them out. They had practiced for months. It was our first time on the court. So in case they're watching the channel, how you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, but that was I was diving a little bit. I tried to go through the legs with one. It's pretty good.
Well, yeah, I'm down.
It's fun. It's pretty fun. Yeah, I could barely walk for a day.
That was pickleball?
Right for that activity. All right, let me get to the segment section here again.
Yeah, I'm a little. I know this was a little tougher to get clips and stuff for. It's a little, unless you really know the clip. These are all the clips I feel like you should also take a look at in your spare time.
Oh yeah, for people watching on the rewatch, if you haven't seen these, YouTube them. You'll go down a fun rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah.
Find of the week.
All right. What do you got?
All right, Andy. So I actually did go picking for the first time this past week, twice, but this is not from that. This is a piece from my collection.
Okay.
So let me show you and tell me if there's anything unusual about this one. But this is an Eagles pennant that I've collected pennants for 20 years. I didn't know there was a pennant that I didn't have, and I found this one on Etsy. I don't really buy on Etsy much. I sell a ton on Etsy, but is there anything unusual about that one?
Well, it's blue.
Yeah, exactly. It's blue. So that's the thing. I mean, I've never seen this pennant in blue. Yeah, it's not that hard of an answer. I was hoping there'd be a layup for you. But to be honest, I wasn't sure the lighting would be an issue. So this pennant typically comes in green. This is a sort of slightly faded green one, but this is from when this pennant comes in a plain one without the champion 1960 on it. And this is an old pennant in it because this was only 3 years after the Lions last won the championship, as we went over before on the channel. But this is an old one.
Interesting story though. Detroit has won their division more recently than the Eagles have. Isn't that weird?
That is very weird.
Yeah,
it is weird. Are you sure? Yeah, that you are sure. Yeah,
that checks out.
We'll be back. That's a weird thing with the NFC East that nobody wins it. It alternates every year. It's sort of a bizarre since the Eagles did it in 2004. But here's another one. This is another pennant I've only ever seen once, a red one. So we have the blue one, blue one, red one, and the more common green one. The 1960 one is not common, but there's a plain one without the 60 on it that's very common. But
is there any reason why they were doing that? Or
I've seen that before in other teams. I think what that is
just ran out of fabric.
Exactly. Pennant makers would just had extra fabric and they had an order. Like, they won't care. Let's send them a blue one. So you don't see them very often. They're very rare. I've only ever seen the blue one and the red one once. But I was thrilled to pick that up. And the person didn't even mention it was blue.
How much, if you don't mind me asking, were they?
I think I paid $135, I think, for it. I'm going to be honest. I would have paid a lot more because I don't have it. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
But that was a good, I was happy to pay that price for sure. So yeah, that's my find for the week.
I got a little find for the week for you, Keith. A little sporadic one, or a little out of the blue one. Look at that. You see what that is?
Is that a coin?
It is.
Is that like I don't know, is that a Lions like playoff coin flip commemorative coin?
It's a 2023 commemorative North Division champs coin.
There you go.
Pick that one up.
Did that come free with your package from them?
It did not. No, I had to buy that as well.
Okay. All right.
Probably less rare than your blue pennant, but that's fine.
That's all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Roman found a vintage Cleveland Browns jacket. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. I mean, Browns has always been a hot seller.
Their vintage stuff is kind of cool too, because they have some weird, they have some funky kind of, mascots and stuff.
The dog pound stuff. I sold a Fanimation jacket a couple months ago with that's like an all over print satin jacket with a dog pound graphic on it. Yeah, Brown stuff, even when they're not great, that's one of those teams that's always a strong seller. Eagles, when they don't do well, it still sells. Browns.
Don't say it.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay. You'd love to say it.
No, but it's some teams like, let me say it now. But like, for example, the Lions and the Cardinals and some teams just when they're not doing great, which is often Jets, they're not strong sellers. But other teams, when they're not doing great, the Bears, the Browns, the Raiders, that stuff is always a strong seller. So that's just sort of an odd thing. But I think that probably will change with the Lions doing as well as they have this year. I could see that'll change the trend, even if they didn't do great next year, which they're probably set up for success, right? But if they didn't, I could see them still trending and being popular for several years, even if they weren't.
Yeah, I think they definitely had some fair weather fans that have joined the flock, so to speak. But
yeah, and I think people learn to like that when they start searching. They learn about vintage or they learn about collectibles when they were so downtrodden by the franchise of the Lions for years that they didn't know that stuff existed. Then they go out there and looking for it. No, but I'm not ripping the Lions. I just happen to be.
It sounds like it.
No. All right, Andy, before we all right, let's do the draft. You want to do one more round of the sales of the week? How do you want to do it? I'll let you make the call.
We can do the let's do the draft. Let's keep it going on that. So,
all right. Let's pop up the draft board here.
Since I ruined anyway. I said since I kind of ruined, I know not you didn't see it, but some people did. So Pennants will, but okay. All right, so finishing off, I think I've got most of my major sports covered. I have two that are probably in the mix here, but I think I'm going to go with the more kind of it's a little more wacky and a little more. He's definitely a little more fired up. So this is a coach, OSU coach. You may know it already, named Mike Gundy. He goes on a famous rant that he's essentially defending one of his players that I guess he didn't do. I forget exactly the reasoning behind it, but he wasn't doing super well, and he was kind of getting trashed in the media. And this has a very high tit score. He is for multiple reasons. First of all, the time he goes on for a good 3 or 4 minutes. But yeah, the most notable, there's a couple parts of this that that kind of come up a couple times. But yeah, the most notable is I'm a man. I'm 40 years old.
It's so ridiculous, right?
It's like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
And he's so he gets out behind the thing. He's like, I'm a man. I'm 40 years old. I can handle it. You're like, yeah. Oh, it was great.
That's played on this 94 WIP in Philly all the time, just for randomly. It's such an obscure rant, right? It's good.
It's good. Funny because I do get it. He's probably he's defending his player, which is probably admirable and stuff, and which is great. But he's probably just so fired up and annoyed and kind of like he doesn't know what to say, and before you know it, he's just saying stuff, and he's completely probably out of his mind, and has no idea what he's saying at that point. But yeah, I finished strong. I feel like I finished pretty good.
Yeah, and that's a modern one. You're going to hit the modern crowd too.
It's not that modern. It's only maybe 10 or 15. Man, it's not that old. It's not that new. But
I got 5 years. 5 years? I don't know.
No.
16 maybe. I don't know. Okay. Whatever it is. I mean, it's not a lot of mine go back. I like to go back in time a little bit.
You do.
And I'm going to again.
Oh geez, here we go.
There's some good new ones. This is a hard choice. I had a list of that. We'll hit some honorable mentions. Okay. There's some great ones on the board still.
Did you have Gundy in your?
I didn't. I mean, I know that one. I mean, on my sound clip.
Yeah.
I didn't. No, I should have. Man. I should have. But that's so replicable, right? I'm a man. I'm 40. It's so easy. I didn't need it.
Yeah, you're losing it. I'm losing it with you.
I think I did playoffs better than Mora.
Potentially, he may have
playoffs. Playoffs.
That's actually pretty good. That's pretty close.
Yeah, because that's how I normally talk anyway. My voice cracks half the time when I'm talking.
All right. So what do you got for me?
Stuff going on. Yeah, I'm going to go back. This is one of the best pure angry rants, and it sort of comes out of nowhere. I think it's might be 83 again. It's somewhere in the 80s. I don't know the exact year, but Hal McRae. If you've seen that one, Andy, and the fact that
he's in his office, right?
Yeah, it actually involves George Brett too. I think they were asking if why he didn't pinch hit George Brett, and he goes off and starts throwing stuff off his desk in dramatic fashion, not just sweeping it off, but grabbing a phone and spinning around and throwing it into the air.
Yeah,
and just F-bombs everywhere. And to the point where the one guy comes out of the room, and if people haven't seen this tirade, watch it. One of the reporter comes out of the room, literally blood dripping down his face. I don't know if he got hit by a phone or a stapler or what hit him, but just cursing, and then he's like, "And put that in your effing pipe and smoke it," which is the probably the hit phrase in that end of it.
Yeah, no, that was good. I mean, I know it's high on people's lists.
And I mean, that doesn't get higher on the tit score than that. That went on and on and on and angry. And
that's true. It is very high on the tit score, I will say.
I'm fed up with everything. Now, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Sick and tired. I'm fed up with everything.
That's at the end when he's sort of calm a little bit.
Yeah.
He had all. I didn't want to, because it was bleep 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 on the earlier stuff. But yeah, that was an epic tirade.
Yeah, no, good one. That was definitely good.
And shockingly, he didn't get fired after that. He kept his job. I mean, if you throw stuff and hurt, literally injure reporters and somehow
it's a different time then. I think I feel like a little bit.
Let me type this in here.
I don't. It's a good question. I don't think so. I think it was a little. I think that was probably part of the. What think he came up with that, but
yeah, I don't think so.
Probably the only time it's been used in baseball. Like,
oh yeah, no, but
no.
But for anybody who hasn't seen that, watch that and the Ilya one. I mean, this one, just the fact that he's like literally grabbing stuff and spiking it off the wall. It's a small room. Right?
And watch the McEnroe and watch George Brett as well.
Yeah, if you have time. But do all that before you vote.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we have one of us has a strong list here. I mean,
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't necessarily saying who that was, but
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think from top to bottom, you had some good late round picks, Hal McRae, and that's a good one.
No, it was overall. I'm not saying just me. It was a nice list. There was no real reaches there.
I don't think so.
No, I mean, I don't think anyone. I have some debates as to whether Brett's a tirade, but I seemed like the chat was okay with it. Yeah, Dan agrees. We're both on point with this one.
There you go.
Lasorda.
This is kind of like your choice in fine wine. What if you prefer red or white, and it's certainly a matter of taste.
Let me hear this, because MNOP Payette says one list is much better than the other.
I don't know.
Two great lists.
I don't know.
I mean, I gotta think. And now MNOP Payette, I know he's like a northern guy. I think he's in Canada. I think his name is like Minnesota or something, right? Too. So I'm trying to think, is that like, we don't have any good hockey tirades. There probably were some good hockey tirades. I know. I'm sure Tortorella has some, and
I think they just get rid of it on the ice. They just kind of like beat each other up, and then they don't.
I gotta assume MNOP is coming on the top of the board. We'll see with the votes, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
All right, let me hit this segment section here real quick, Andy, and then we'll get to our honorary mentions. And there's some good ones.
Sale of the week.
All right, so round 2 of the sale of the week. Let me start it off here real quick.
How many? You got 2 more, or
we don't have to do. I had 3. We don't have to do them. I just had too many good sales this week. It was a strong.
Let's maybe do one each. We're coming up on 9:30. I don't want to take too many.
That's gonna be do 2 and 1. 2 and 1.
All right. Well, we still got to talk about some of our.
We'll rip through them. I won't do 3. I'll cut that one out of there. All right, Annie. First one's a bat. This is a 1920s Babe Ruth Jr. 32-inch Louisville Slugger bat. Junior bats, I'll give you a little. Junior bats typically aren't as strong as full-size bats.
Okay.
But 32 inches is pretty good. Thanks, Roman. Appreciate that.
I'm sorry. What was the date on this?
20s, 1920s.
So it's from
this price includes shipping. Shipping is probably like $14.
Okay.
From his
feel free days. Feel free to guess in the chat. 1920s bat. Yeah, you throw these bats up here. I feel like it's not really fair, because you threw up that $1,200 bat or $1,600 bat, and then there's ones in between.
That was a game use bat. A game use bat. This is a store model bat. So
okay, my guess is this is in the like 150 to 250 range. So I'm going to go 175 on this. See if I'm
175. All right, let me get back to my StreamYard.
I have a good feeling about that.
No, that was. Let me. What did you say again? What was your number again?
175.
So not too close on that one. That's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, these bats, I feel like they're just all over the place. It's hard to tell.
Well, for Babe Ruth, is if you're going to find an early bat, Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, those are the two that it's going to be hard to get a Cobb or Ruth bat, even a junior model bat for this price or under. Really, they're going to be.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's the key. There
was this part of that huge bat grab that you had, or no?
It was. Yeah, that was that my recent video. Yeah. I think it was like this collection had a hidden grail. That was what the Negro League back came in.
Right. Okay. Let me pop up my pennant. That's also was kind of a good timing, I feel like. Here we should have actually put his name in the mix of the top nicknames. Do you remember what his nickname was? I think it's good. It's pretty good.
Bananas.
It was Barry Bananas Foster.
I never heard that before, but Bananas Foster is like a dessert or whatever, right?
I went to college with a big Steelers fan, so he would let me know of all of the All right, so what's your guess on this one?
All right, so this is not as good in my opinion as the Harbaugh, at least not as wide of a collecting base, but it's an obscure one. You don't see. I've never seen a Barry Foster pennant either. It's probably going to be pretty darn close to the Harbaugh. I think the Harbaugh brought 30. I guess $39.99. You're not a 99 kind of guy. Everything I list is not something 99. The psychological aspect of it.
Here's the thing, though, too. Just because what it's sold for doesn't mean I listed it.
Yeah,
I could have listed it for something. It doesn't.
I got you. I'm going to guess $34.
Okay. Let me just go real quick here. Well, wanted to see you fall that time.
Yeah.
And I will show you what I sold it for. Pretty random number.
Yeah. So that was right. That wasn't your price. It was an offer. I'm sure it was an offer. Why would someone offer that?
I don't know. Maybe you just thought
it's interesting.
That's weird.
It's cool though. I mean, that's about a going rate for a lot of caricature pennants, right? So even though that's a rarer one, it's nice to move that stuff. What's up, Brandon? Thanks for joining us, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon. On those I feel like they're we got to move them. So it's like on that, I'm
I would have burned.
I don't know what I put that. I think I put it up for $24.99 maybe, but anyway. But
let me do this real fast. So Andy, this is not the item, but I'm going to show you this first. See who those guys are?
Of course.
Yeah, it's like $6 usually to ship, Dan. So that's probably close to that. Yeah, maybe tax. Maybe he's factoring in tax. We got Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. But the reason I'm pulling this up
because he's wearing a Sixers hat. Is that why?
Exactly. Yeah. So here's the hat. So this is a hat that I bought at a yard sale for $1 with a splash Kansas City Chiefs hat too. But it's a wool starter brand arch hat. And a lot of the 90s hats, Andy, are like some of the value. These are a little bit of a rare style, but some of the value is in the fact that a lot of hip hop artists and rappers in the 90s wore them, like Eazy-E, NWA, Fresh, Will Smith.
Okay. Okay. So this is not new tags. I need some condition.
This is worn. It had a couple moth holes. I cleaned it. It was worn, but it wasn't bad shape.
Interesting. I think, I don't think this is going to be nearly as expensive as the other one. My guess, I think you're going to be in the $50 to $75 range would be my guess.
Brandon's right in there in the same range with you.
Brandon has got the same idea that I have.
This is a shipped price too. Shipping's included. Shipping's probably like $5.
So I think you put it up for.
Well, first it's an Etsy sale, so there was no offer. They just came and bought it.
No, I know. I'm saying I think you put it up for. I think you put it up for $49.99 and it sold for $54. That would be my guess.
No. I mean, clarify, the price includes shipping. So the price that I'm going to give you is shipped.
I got you.
Yeah,
I
they
know.
didn't make an offer. They just came and bought
I
it.
know.
So
No, what I'm saying is
you're guessing 54.
Yes.
Okay, 54. So we have 79, 89.99, 129.99, 69.99. So let me do this real fast here.
He's gonna do. He's not great with math, so I'm always concerned. So I'm probably
Ready, I'll kick your ass.
I've been on a bit of a losing streak recently. I was crushed before.
I didn't need math for this one, Andy.
Okay.
I didn't need that.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Yes, this is a strong one. This starter arch hats are good, but especially like NBA, like Sixers hats. I mean, this one's a strong one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's something to be on the lookout for if you're ever people in the chat ever find that in the Goodwill bins or anything. Definitely scoop that one up for sure.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, that was.
You went heavy on the hats this week, so I need to do a little work, I guess. So.
Well, I had another one, but I won't even show that because that's all right. But that wasn't a hat. I had 2 and 2.
All right. Okay.
So you were 0 for 4.
Yeah, I think you were 0 for as well. So yeah, him bought for $1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 180.
That might have been a video that I've never gotten like a good troll comment on YouTube, but nobody gave me any hate on it. But I did go back the next week and spend like $600 with the guy on that banner.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a good score on the hats.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I was gonna say I thought with the flaws and stuff like that might have, but with moth.
I've seen it bring like 250 without. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of Etsy and some other platforms. People just come and buy it. There aren't really offers.
Yeah. Right.
All right, let me get back to the draft board, and then we'll do some highlight or honorary mentions.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I don't have that many more, honestly. I have like two more that neither of us took, but so that's our list.
Yeah, and while we're at it, guys, throw a bid on I'm going to put up an Instagram story. Throw it, not a bid, a vote who you thought won. And also going to put it up on the YouTube community page. But also, we've started another YouTube channel. This just the podcast, Pastime Picks Podcast, that we're posting the videos over there after the fact with all the reselling content taken out. So it's just the draft and basically me mocking Andy for his picks. So I figured that might be more for the general audience than some of the reselling content that we put in here.
Yeah, I think it's good digestible thing. It's anywhere from usually like 30 to 45 minutes or something. Usually is what the clip is.
Yeah, that's
nice. It's a lot of talking involved, and
they're on Spotify too. If anyone wants to listen on the road,
there you go. All right, so let me. I'll throw one out for you. It's probably not on your list. There's a guy named David Bennett. Did you see that one at all in your?
No, never even heard of this person.
Yeah. So the guy named, there you go. You have some homework for you.
Yeah,
David Bennett. You have to hear it. He's a coach from Coastal Carolina. And you take a look at this guy, and you're like, yep, he's definitely from, he's like basically had I think he had a mullet and a mustache. Like looks like he's like, okay, straight from Carolina. It looks like a good old a country boy, but his whole thing was, and it wasn't, the reason why I didn't pick it was he wasn't really angry in it, I don't think. And he was talking about like his players and who he wanted on his team. And I don't know this for sure, but he's kind of the one that came up with dogs. He's like, we don't want kitties on our team. We want dogs. We want dogs. And he keeps going on and on.
How old is it?
I don't know. Let me see.
Because that seems like it's an old phrase to me, unless this is an old video.
But like the way he says it.
Okay.
Let's see. This is so it was 2001, I guess. Was when it? Yeah. It's funny. Actually, he didn't have a mohawk at the time, or mohawk. He didn't have he had a mustache though. But yeah, just look up David Bennett. We need more dogs. That's
I'll check it out. Yeah, actually, I did see that now that you said it, but I never watched the video. I saw the name. Okay. I'm like, I never heard of that guy. Coastal Carolina.
He didn't freak out or anything too much, but he was just almost in the same vein as Mike Gundy in terms of like, it was just weird a little bit. Maybe it wasn't the best hire, so I kept it off the list. All right, so what do you got?
Yeah, I mentioned that some of the fun ones were when the guys are just coming off the field, their adrenaline's pumping, like the Tyson one. But there's a couple like this, and the one that I think was the best one, Richard Sherman, after the NFC Championship game, deflects a pass coming to Michael Crabtree, and just going off on Erica Andrews, right? And like she's like taken aback, like a little scared of him, I think.
Yeah.
And what the hell was he saying? Oh, well, I think I have it. I think I have it.
He was like going after Crabtree though, right? Wasn't he saying like how he wasn't bad?
He was like sort of taken aback how angry he was. Like she thought it was like a happy interview. Because he wasn't mad at her.
No, I know.
But yeah, we play.
When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're gonna get. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're gonna get.
That's pretty good.
Great. Yeah. And a similar one was Bart Scott. Right? Like they use that quote all the time. Very similar one. Like,
what did he say? I don't remember what he said. Though.
Talking to Sal Palantonio after they beat the Patriots in the divisional round, he was like, "I'll see you next week in Pittsburgh," or not, wherever he said. He's like, "Can't wait." You hear that quote? That's like a quote that's all over the place.
Yeah, I do remember that one. The other one I had too, which you probably would argue is not a tirade, is the because it's borderline a fight. Was the Jim Everett on Jim Rome? Do you remember
that's
that?
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't
know if that's quite a tirade, but it's great. That's the back and forth on that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's like, again, I'm not sure if it quite falls in the tirade category.
I don't think it's a tirade. But
when Jim keeps, for those of you who haven't seen this, definitely watch this one too, because it's like classic 90s ESPN when Jim Rome, I guess, was one of the guys there, and he's like, he calls him Chris Everett, who at the time was a female tennis player. And then he calls him 2 or 3 times in a row. And then Jim Everett eventually goes, "You won't call me that again." And he goes, like he says something, he's like, "Chris." And Jim Everett jumps up, flips the table over and like goes after him. Again, I'm not sure it was quite a tirade, but it was close. And I think, so that's why I didn't pick it, but yeah, that's
great. And nobody really, Jim Rohn's like a very dislikable character, I think. I never liked
he's even more of a jerk back then, kind of like just
he was just antagonizing people. Yeah. But that was great. Yeah, I agree. Chris Everett. Jim Everett, obviously, but so let's go. A couple other ones were this was a classic press conference one. I have 2 other ones. Press conference one that I liked, could have been on the list, Mike Singletary.
Yeah,
he's talking about Vernon Davis. That was like, I mean, you never hear a player like bashing or coach bashing one of his players like that. Like, can't play with him, can't win with him, can't. You never see that in sports.
Yeah,
it's an unusual moment. Singletary, he's a tough dude.
That was Vernon Davis had a good career after that too. I feel like he had he played for a couple of years after.
I think probably could have been even better, right? If maybe he had issues where he wasn't like trying but he probably was one of the more athletic and skillful tight ends ever.
One of the most. He ran a sub 4.4 40, I think.
He's
another Maryland guy that was like one of those crazy workout warriors. Like Sean Merriman, I think we talked about a week or 2 ago. Maryland had produced some like these workout guys which are just tested off the charts. Darius Hayward Bay, who ran a sub, it was a 4.3, and it's crazy.
And then the last one I have is this is sort of a tirade, but you remember this, Andy, in 1994. So we're in high school. I was a big Temple fan. It was a game, UMass versus Temple, big rivals. UMass had beaten Temple last second.
Not Cheney, right?
Cheney Calipari.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess Cheney had his press conference, was pretty calm press conference, but heard after the press conference that Calipari was complaining to the officials after he had won, and just Cheney went off.
Yeah.
Stormed into the press conference. Yeah, and it was like you never hear a coach threatening to kill another coach. He's like, "I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I'll kick your ass. It was going off and off and off. I mean, it was
he was an odd looking guy too. So
yeah,
that made it all a little
Yeah.
weirder too.
Yeah, he was a hothead too, but he was a fun, entertaining coach.
Definitely.
But that was, I'm not sure that's a tirade or not. It was almost a brawl.
Yeah,
but
I know. That's the thing. This was a little ambiguous, not ambiguous, but like the tirades are a little tough on what you feel about it. Like, I mean, borderline fight or fight could, if there's, I don't know. So,
I think some of
each their own, but
except for the George Brett. I mean,
George Brett was a winner, but all right. Well,
that's a good list.
Good list. Let's see what people think. Maybe I'm confident in my picks. Maybe we'll see what happens.
It's good to be that way, but we'll see. We'll see. I think it's a strong showing for both of us. Yeah. But guys, like I said earlier, we're not going to be here next week. We'll be here the following Wednesday. We haven't really totally decided what we're going to do yet, but let me get rid of this. And but we'll see you in 2 weeks. Yeah. Go Eagles.
Go Lions.
Yeah. Enjoy the playoffs. Enjoy the playoffs, everyone. And we'll be back to talk about the playoffs in a couple weeks.
Sounds great.
Peace.